Hello for anyone watching this in the future. You're watching a Gauntlet Hangouts game. This game was arranged through the Gauntlet, which is an internet community that plays cool story games and role-playing games online. There's a link to the website. You'll find out all the stuff they do down there at the description. This game that was arranged is part of a series of games where basically I'm running through a bunch of in development mecha RPGs. So if you don't know what mecha is, basically giant robots, Gundam, basically Evangelion. It's about fighting war through the medium of robots that look like people, with all the thematic implications and complications that that ensues. So the game we're playing, kicking off this Mecha monthly series, is Armour Astir by Briar Sovereign. You can find them on Twitter at WereGazelle, like a werewolf, but a gazelle. And there's a link to the in development doc down below, and check out all that stuff. It's an interesting looking game. I'm looking forward to running it. I'm looking forward to playing with all these very cool people. Apologies for the coughs. This has bedeviled me for the past couple of weeks. Before we kind of start, let's kind of get to know each other. And talking to the players, not you viewers. I'd like to get to know, reach out, whatever. But let's get to know our players first. So I'm just gonna ask for your name, pronouns, and if you have a cool thing you want to shout out on the internet, whether you're involved with it or not, do so. I'll start here on your screen with yourself there, Ren.
Hi, I'm Ren. I use he, him pronouns, and I don't really have anything to shout out right now.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, you don't have to shout out anything. It's a suggestion. But yeah, nice to have you here, Ren. Up next, Robert. Please introduce yourself.
My name is Robert. I use he, him pronouns, and I don't have anything to shout out today. I've been busy with IKEA construction.
Shout outs to IKEA, I guess. And last but not least, Zach.
Hi, my name is Zach. I use he, him pronouns. Also, I don't have anything to blast to be out there, so nothing special.
All right, no worries. Actually makes my job easier because usually I have to put links to whatever people shout out down on the description, and now I don't have to do that. Yay! Maybe I should stop. Anyway, moving on. Before we get into the game so proper, we need to talk about the safety tools that we're that we're using for today. Basically, we all try to make sure we're playing in a safe and comfortable environment. The more important thing is to, have fun. As cheesy as that sounds, that's fairly important. So we have a bunch of safety tools that we're using. First up, we have lines and veils. Basically, if you look at the character keeper for our players here, if you go through all those ridiculous tabs, we'll get to them in the meantime. There's one that says L and V. That's where we keep our lines and veils. Basically, lines are things that won't be crossed, won't show up in fiction at all. It's just off the table, so to speak. And veils are things that can happen in fiction, but we're not going to concentrate on it. It happens off screen. We're just not going to train the camera on it. I'm not gonna fill them in a kind of like your own time because I prefer not to shout them out on broadcast. But yeah, if you have any like lines and veils, I've added a few there. If you have any more you want to add, please do so. And we also have the X card, which basically, if we stumble into anything where people feel uncomfortable with whatever's happening, like on screen, so to speak, for whatever reason. You can make a X symbol on the camera, or you can say I want to X that on the chat or on the roll for a party, which I forgot to generate. I'll do that in a minute. There's a button there. But yeah, if we run into a scene like that, if you can play the X, you can use the X card to say you want to X that, and I might ask questions on what exactly is being X, but no one gets to question if the card is played. If the card is played, then that we're going to respect that, and we're going to roll back and try something else, basically. And last but not least, we have an open door policy on this game. This is for the 4 of us specifically. If for whatever reason you need to step away, for whatever reason, whether there was an emergency, or you're just more tired than you think, or you really need to go, or you need a break, even for just 5 minutes, you can call that at any time, no matter what's happening on whatever we're doing at the moment. Damn this cough. But yeah, so that's the open door policy. Okay, so with all that being said, let's talk about this game, Armour Astir. So basically, it's a game about rebellion. It's a game about kind of conflict and warfare. I'll read the blurb at the top. So Armour Astir is a high fantasy role-playing game about rebellious magicians, fighters, clerics, and 40-foot-tall magical constructs caught up in a struggle against an authority that seeks to control them. So it's a game about conflict, it's about idealism, and the people that shape them. It's a game in which violence is a status quo. So the thrust of a blade, the flick of a pen, the quiet of inaction. Peace is scarce luxury. And it is about the relationships you build between each other as you are all caught up in this fight. But what's the fight about and what's it for? Because the game provides like the framework of, okay, it's a high fantasy, your pilots can do magic, and you have giant human robots that you pilot. But the actual world itself, that's up to us to set up. And Briar, Atward Gazelle, kind of suggests that before you get into like characters and whatnot, let's kind of set up the world. So when I was thinking like, what I was thinking is we'll kind of do a bit of like that Microsoft palette, and I'm just gonna ask each of you, what do you want to see in this world? And then we'll do a round of that, and then I'll ask, what do you not want to see? As in like, and it's all up for grabs for now. Like we don't even have like a time frame. Although I do want to keep it like kind of in a medieval fantasy-ish sort of setting, because for various weird specious reasons, because the next game I'm running next month is an Evangelion game, so we have to feed into that. But other than that, do you have anything like you want to see in this world, kind of? We'll kind of go around the same way we did with introductions. Ren, is there anything you want to see?
I don't really have. Do you have any like examples? I guess like.
Let's see. Let me look at the. Oh, actually, I misread a thing. We don't have to set up the world at all. Actually, we just need to set up the authority and the cause. That's my bad. So for now, the default is kind of like, fantastical medieval fantasy, and we'll figure out like settings and where we are at the moment. But I misread that. The main thing we have to set up is the authority and the cause. So that's my bad. So the authority. Authority is the group that forms a primary antagonist for the players in Armour Astir. Authority, as opposed to villain or foe, it has a certain subtext. And so that means the authority is a group. It's an organization. It is massive. It's it's not individual foes. It's something big that we have to fight. So I'm gonna ask each of you a question about the authority, and we're gonna end it off by giving it a name. Because we can't just call it the authority. But I'm going to ask you a question. There's a list here. So back to you then, Ren. Sorry, apologies for putting you on the spot there. But for this one, what do the people of the authority value? So just presume like this world has, giant robots and magic. That's kind of like the baseline. There's no wrong answer.
I think they value like a sort of purity to their magic, so they probably just have one they're only getting their magic one way, so not like the witch or the let me look at the playbooks. The
Paradigm?
Paradigm, yeah.
Okay, oh, that's interesting. So you can see why people want to fight against that, because they want to make it sure that it's only their source of magic, or there's only one source of magic and it's theirs to control. All right, interesting. Robert, what do the people of the Authority hate or disparage?
I think they hate. They hate disorder.
Fair enough. And when you mean disorder, you mean any order that isn't theirs, probably.
Yeah. They hate basically disobedience. Anybody who doesn't follow their rules and their their leadership.
All right, nice and easy to hate. Okay, Zach. What does the average citizen think of the Authority? Do they live in fear or do they support it?
I think people's general feeling towards the Authority is fear, but especially the people that are, they don't align with this whatever source of magic that they kind of impose on people. And so I feel like a lot of people end up like buying into the Authority's like status quo out of like necessity, in order for in order for them to like survive and be safe, not as their own like autonomous decision to be involved with whatever their source is. So there's a lot of not explicit kind of like sense of obedience, like they do it just because they have to. And I think there's a lot of like tension in that of like buying in because they have to, not because they want to. So yeah.
All right. Okay, let's do another round of questions, just to like question out a bit more, and then we'll end with names. I have an idea for a name, but like if anyone has any names, it's all a bit open. Or do you kind of an idea what the mechs they have? Okay, so back to you, Ren. How does the Authority look? Like, what symbols and colors do they use? Or what materials, even?
I think they use a lot of green. Trying to put on this face like they're the good guys. Their materials. Probably their robots use a lot of chrome. Let me look at that again.
Yeah, chrome could be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, my other idea for that was it was either gonna be chrome or glass, because once again, for like high fantasy stuff. So like, so when you suggest that they value purity, what's more pure than crystalline glass or something like that? If that's okay.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I wasn't even in the fantasy mindset, so
Yeah, so I think with that we kind of like we're kind of setting the tone. We are like, I'll send you all the links to like images of stuff like Vision of Esclafone is kind of like the closest thing to a fantasy mech anime there's been. It is just like giant robots in this kind of weird wooded fantasy world, which is like, okay, that's weird. There are dragons over there, and also my mech can turn into a dragon. Okay, um, that's really cool. Okay, I like the idea of green, and they don't look like, I don't know, they don't look like Nazis. They try to look nice. Okay, I like the idea of that. Let's see. I'm looking at these questions. Robert, what is hypocritical about the authority? Let's just straight up get that all out.
I want to say that some of their magic comes from a different place than where they, you know, like maybe like they've got this magic of theirs is like their own, you know, construct that they're basically evolving constantly, and they're actually integrating aspects of other, you know, magical systems to it as they recover materials from those they've conquered.
Ooh, so like that's why they're conquering places. Want to assimilate all magic to them. Okay. All right. That's really cool. Last question then to you, Zach. What is the authority's primary goal? Why haven't they achieved it?
I think their primary goal is consolidation of power, right? I feel like there's this sense of like, I don't know, it's also maybe yeah, because I was also like debating this in my head, like what are they like in terms of like, you know, are they kind of this like emerging new force, or are they already established with kind of like domains under their control, and like they're like exerting more and more control. So
Either sounds cool.
What's that?
Either sounds cool. I was just saying.
I think maybe the first one, I think they're like gaining more momentum in terms of like, you know, I don't know, like my first thought of like when like last I was thinking about the game, I was like, okay, I don't really know what the touchstone for like the thematic, but I was thinking a lot about Nausicaa, the Valley of the Wind, and they're like this like power of their like, you know, like forcing other autonomous domains or like regions with like different lords to like support them. So I think that's what they're trying to do, is like they have this tap into this like really powerful source of magic that allows them to gain more land and a control over whatever region. And I think they still haven't been able to complete that goal, is because there's like, you know, like a big enough resistance from you know, like different autonomous regions that like help each other to fight them. So yeah.
I like that. I like that idea that like, they're probably just the most belligerent of all these like autonomous regions. They're the ones kind of like, they are the ones openly taking over by force. All right, that's cool. I don't think left's a name, and well, I'll leave that for later. Unless you all have a name for this for this group, which is authority. But for now, well, let's move to the cause, which is the folks you're going to be working for, fighting for. So opposed to the authority is the cause. That's a revolutionary group to which the players belong. So the cause has resources, information, fights against the authority in its own terms, but relies on you folks, the players, as the most trustworthy asset. So the cause that provides you with your assets, like your Astirs, the carrier, which is kind of like the ship you all live in, and the thing is with them is they're a more disparate group. They're like a bunch of factions all brought together by a single aim, which is to topple the authority. So there's also a bunch of questions here. We'll do the same thing, quick round, and then once that's all kind of settled, we'll get into characters, and then clean up some stuff. Have any questions, etc., etc. But yeah, let's define the cause first. Back to you, Ren. So does the cause have aims other than opposing the authority?
I'm thinking no. And maybe that's like a point of contention within the cause. I don't know if I'm skipping ahead at all.
No, that's fine. I
Yeah. So I think they're so focused in taking down the authority that there's like, it doesn't seem like there's really any other plans to help people.
Okay. You brought these all disparate groups and these people with probably like powerful means have all been brought together, but they're only focused on the one thing. Okay, that's interesting. Robert, how much of a secret is the cause?
I don't think it's really a secret. I think it's like Zach was discussing. I think it's a bunch of different nations, smaller nations that have banded together to oppose this, authoritarian regime that's trying to take over. So it's very visible.
All right. Very visible. Sorry, I'm just noting all these down. Back, where do these causes actually? No, that question's probably answered. I was going to ask where do the causes resources come from, but if you can't answer that, it's a lot of different factions. Unless you have another answer to that, you think? No. Okay. Cool.
Not really.
Different question. Well, since they're not a secret, they'll know of it. So, actually, no. I'll ask you this: how does the cause look? What symbols and colors do they use? They, I mean you.
I think since they're from different nations and different peoples, I think there's some sort of, I don't know, they're like people, they don't have a specific uniform, or they don't have a specific kind of it's just like very diverse. So maybe anything but green, but maybe there's something that's like like a unifying symbol, I guess, unifying aesthetic. Since like the authorities like mechs they're like that like chrome and glass kind of purity to it. I think, I don't know, I like the idea of the cause is more like ragtag, like put together, just for this like sole purpose to like, you know, like fight the authority. And so I don't know, yeah, I don't, maybe that's like a look that the cause, it's just like this like patched up together kind of, you know, so
Yeah, no, that sounds really cool. Like if you're gonna have like a unified look to the authority, best way to pose that is like, and I like that you mentioned very diverse. That's I think if everyone's down with that, also that means that none of you need to have like a unified aesthetic. Look like whatever you want
right.
as characters. Are you okay with that? Do you think? Okay, cool. Most of the other questions you all kind of already answered. Like, where do the cause resources come from? What do people within the cause disagree over? So I think we're fine for that. We just need a name, and those are things I'm willing to go back on because I do want to keep moving. Hopefully, by at least the end of the first of our break, we will have names for the cause and the authority. But let's get to characters. Let's get to the meat and bones of this, which is you folks. And so, okay, let's go to the character keeper. There's like a tab there that says character creation, and basically, those are the steps we're gonna take. So first off, we'll choose a playbook. So I mentioned this in the chat already, but I'll mention already back here in the broadcast. There are two kinds of playbooks. One is the channelers. Those are the pilots. Those are the people who can do magic. They're the ones piloting the big, stompy human mechs. They're the soldiers. They're the ones in the front line. Support are logistics. They're kind of like tactical roles. They're kind of like, they provide support to the pilots. And they basically make lives easier for the pilots. And there's at least 4 of each. Had any ideas of what y'all are interested in playing? Like, I don't mind if like we all just play like, I don't know. The one configuration probably wouldn't want is have all 3 supports, because if there's just 3 supports, who are you all supporting? So at least 1 channeler, if that's okay. So does anyone have any thoughts on playbooks? I know I sent y'all the link quite late. But have you had any thoughts?
I was thinking I might go for the witch. I kind of want to do like fell into the classic fell into the cockpit style of character, who maybe stumbled into a pact with some sort of power to get access to the armor.
That sounds really cool. What about the rest of these? Oh yeah, I'll share the link to the character keeper again. Actually, I should, and make the roll for party. I should do that. Stuff. Don't worry about basic move. There's a tab for basic moves. We'll get to those when we actually get into play. Damn this cough. Oh, yeah, damn. I'm just gonna say it right here, just for benefit of everyone viewing. Damn this sickly cough. If no one if everyone's fine with Robert taking the witch, so you're all good with that? All right, cool. Actually, I'll go through the playbooks here again just for all our benefits and for the benefit of people watching. So like I said, 4 kinds of playbooks, and we'll go to the channelers first. So, and the channelers are the magic users, the pilots, and there's 4 of them. The first one here on the dock is the Arcanist. They're basically like they're kind of like, I guess they're the most role model student soldiers there are, because they plan their magic out. They have rituals that they prepare beforehand, and their moves are kind of geared around tactics, about having prepared beforehand. They're careful, prepared magic users. and they have magical tactics enhancements that they can preemptively cast. So they're all about kind of being in control, being prepared. Imposters are cyborgs, basically. Most magic users come from it naturally, or they make a pack or whatnot. But imposters, they modify themselves. Their magic comes through augments in their bodies. So they're every bit as capable as any other manager. It's just that they weren't. Some of them were just a bit less lucky in terms of gaining magic. So they changed themselves, like artificial limbs, organs, and that allows them to channel magic. There's the paradigm. They are basically paladins in that they're adherents to a divine power that lets them channel that power into the Astir to control them. To continue using that power, though, they're in service of the deity, and they're kind of responsible for the spiritual well-being of the crew, and they have tenets that they have to adhere to. Adhere to that, you get XP, basically. And they give you just nice different powers. And the witch, just the one Robert took, has wild power gained from a magical benefactor, like a demon or a spirit or any non-divine entity. So you get boons from your patron, but their patron might have different motives to you and can spend hold to use their influence over you. So those are the 4 channelers. The other 4 playbooks are the support roles, which let them basically they can affect the battlefield in ways that the Astirs can't, because usually Astirs affect the battlefield through brute force and use of magic and power and whatnot. First playbook for support roles is the Scout. It's very straightforward. They're trained in navigating any terrain. They're pathfinders. They're more than just a rank and file soldier. They're trained to be fast, strong, and capable. They're like the eyes on the ground for fog of war happens a lot, and they make sure that the Astirs know where they're going and know what they're up against. Sneak into enemy territory to gather info, or they can even perform repairs on Astirs in the field. So they're kind of like the most direct logistic support you can get in the battlefield. There's the captain, who is the leader, basically. They're the ones who command the crew, command all the other Astirs. They're the ones who overlook the sorties. Their place is usually at the helm of the carrier. The carrier is kind of like the ship that you all live in and deploy from. And the captain provides support on missions by using the carrier's equipment and weaponry, and they can even provide temporary upgrades to the Astirs or use their tactical know-how to better position them in the battlefield. So captains are just they are the general, they are the leader at the back, telling you all what to do. And there's the artificer, which is basically the engineer. They make sure you all keep equipped and functioning. They make sure that the carrier and the Astirs are in top condition, repairing, tinkering with them. But also they're very good at taking things apart. So basically, if Scout can do like a temporary patch job, the artificer is more an expert in machines and whatnot, and they can take apart objects to maybe retrofit them for other Astirs. And also they can generate arcane power as well, because they can have a generator and all that. And there's the diplomat, whose war is in the boardrooms, in the halls of power, in negotiation. They're the ones who kind of like bring the cause together. They bring factions together. They negotiate the impossible. Like they meet with other important people, make sure that that you have resources, that you have allies. That's the diplomat's job. You're kind of wondering, wait, how do all these people kind of do all this stuff while you're in a sortie and you're fighting stuff? Well, there is like supports have a special move called the B plot, just straight up called the B plot, where like they have hold that they can change the landscape of the battlefield by using that hold, depending on how they roll. So it's kind of like in an episode of anime, while you're fighting, cut to other character doing their own thing. That's kind of like how supports work. Yeah. So hopefully that's kind of clarified what kind of playbooks y'all want to try.
I have an idea what I want to play. I think I'd like to play a support character, and they would be a scout if everyone's okay with that.
Cool. I was gonna say, like, yeah, you and Robert are gonna be your kind of like for the rest of the month. So it's cool to have like a Chandler and a Scout together. Brand, do you have any ideas on?
I was looking. I think I want to be the imposter.
Ooh, interesting. Okay, so all right, cool. So there is I think it's in the folder, all the like the choices for looks and likes. I think. Let me double check that. Are there in the Google Drive? So the next thing, yeah, is name and look. So each role has a few choices for clothing, your overall look, and something else role appropriate. Like say for the imposter, your magic is like smoke and industry, or neon beams, or fiery outbursts, or arcing bolts, or something like that. So there's something like that for each role. It's kind of like if you look at the character sheets in the Google Drive folder, which I should put a link to that here. Give me a sec. Yeah, you have you look, you wear, and something else that's appropriate to your roles. Like, so for an imposter, for channelers, it's like your magic is like X. For the support, which is the scout, you fight with practice discipline, brute strength, dexterous moves. Actually, I'll put a link of the doc itself, the doc that the Briar wrote. Where are we uploading? There we go. So just to make things easier, here in the chat, there we go. Armour Astir Advent. Oh fucking hell! I forgot an entire third word on the the title. That's embarrassing. That's actually really no, not even. It's the big A's even. Oh my god! All right. Anyway, that's sorry. I'm sorry, Briar. Yeah. So yeah. So anyway, all the playbooks are there. For fuck's sake. Okay, so yeah, so yeah, look, where, and like, and I'll go through the stats themselves actually, what they all mean, so you have a better or traits. They're called traits in this game, and so traits are measured from -3 to 3, and they're as follows: Defy is the ability to resist pressure and power through adversity. Sense is the ability to read people and situations. Clash is your prowess in combat at distance or close. Talk is your skill with the spoken and written word. And know is your ingenuity and cunning. Important note: channelers get another stat, an extra stat, just called channel. And depending on the playbook, the playbook tells you what you start with, and channel. So like if you have any like names or looks, you can start entering them in the character keeper, which I did put a link. Yeah, I did. Oh, cool. The annoying thing of playing with a fantasy game is when you have to come up with a name for a group. You're wondering, should I invent a word? I'm not a linguist, but we're in a fantasy world. So should we invent a word? I'd rather avoid doing that, but then again, I don't know what an Astir means. Also, since the two of you here are now also like, we'll get when we get to gear, I guess, because you have to pick out your Astir, your mech. There's a list of them, so you don't have to invent your own, which is thank fuck for that. If you have any like further questions, feel free to shoot them out. Okay, I just realized a really stupid mistake I made. Two of you are in two separate character keepers. I think I accidentally put the link to the main one instead of the one in the folder. That's my bad. This is the second time I've fucking done this mistake. Give me a sec. Which is the one that I I see. Sorry, Ren. That's my bad. That's the old character keeper. I'm gonna I'm gonna put a link to the new one. Fuck's sake. Okay, and that's my bad because. Okay. Hold on. Let me.
Am I in the wrong one or the right one?
You're in the right one. If your character keeper has more than 3 tabs, you're in the right one. And Ren, sorry, that's my bad. You're in the wrong. I was wondering, like, where's the other stuff? Oh, okay. I've done this mistake before. I'm so sorry. So sorry, Ren. You have to port your stuff to the other. Okay. So once we have look and names and whatnot, next we're gonna go into. All right. Well, I'll wait for all this fill out before we go into gear, which is like for our channelers, it's a bit more complicated. Actually, well, so for gear, let me look at character creation again. So each role has a few choices for equipment and items you have at the start of the game. Channel roles all start with the tier 3 Astir, the choice for which you can find in the Astir tab. So at least for the scout, choices of equipment are simple enough. I think you are meant to pick like one of each from those lists. So like one scout weapon, one infantry weapon, 2 scout equipment, and clothing appropriate for your look. For the two of you, though, if you look at the Astir tab, there are 7 types of Astirs, and hopefully, like the description will kind of like clue you in on like what each of all those modules and all those modules, and don't worry about the stats on those Astirs, like what those mean. We'll get into those in play. So for 2 channelers, like, yeah, if you want to look through those Astir types and then tell me which ones catch your eye.
For the gear, I have a question. For the gear, at least on the Scouts playbook, I see a list of gears. Do I get all of them, or do I have to pick?
You have to pick. You see at the top, there's a lister that's just gear. So you get 1 scout weapon, 1 infantry weapon, 2 scout equipment, and clothing appropriate for your look, which either has the armor insulated tag. So if you look at the top of the first list there.
All right, cool. Thank you.
I love that. Yeah, if you look at the Chandler playbooks on their gear, 1 Astir. You just get a mech. Oops. The note that says our copy paste Astir section here, not specifically that cell, but just in the gear section. I mean, like if you whichever Astir type you pick, you actually just tell me which one you pick, and I'll copy paste it to your part in the player character sheet.
I think I'll take the Protean.
Ooh, okay. Let's see. Let me read the description for the Protean. The Protean is intended to be a flexible, middle-of-the-road design, a jack of all trades. Its primary enchantments can be altered, providing more specific capabilities for different situations. Ooh, interesting. And you're playing with the Mario of the Astirs. Let's see if this works. Copy paste that here. There we go. See, that's why the gear section is so long, because I need room for all the Astir stuff as well to be there. And yeah, feel free. Protean is the type. You can give it a name. In fact, it's almost like if you're in a mech show, you need to give your mech a name. The Protean is it's the type. And when it says magic there, that's just a tag, really. But give your mech a name. That's. I wouldn't say it's suggested. It's almost encouraged.
I think I'm gonna go with the Omen.
Ooh. While less equipped than other models and featuring little room for customization, omens are famously easy to maintain and repair. Combined with the fact that their design makes use of many common parts, omens take a bulk of any organized force of Astirs. Okay. Like, simple. Let's see if this works. Hold on. Let me move that dagger down a bit. There we go. Okay, so you're done with your gear. Next is traits. You're gonna go to character creation. You assign those. So basically, you assign a 2. Should be a +2. +2 +1. Oh, jeez. Oh, yeah, I forgot. It turns into an equation when that happens. Damn you, Google, Excel, whatever. So yeah. For certain playbooks that are 2 channelers, the playbooks say what your channel stat starts with, but for every other stat or trait, sorry, for every other trait, yeah, you have a 2, a +1, a +1, a 0, and a -1.
Leander, could you remind me what each of the trait is for? So is Defy some sort of like a dexterity thing?
Hold on. Let me scroll back up. Where are the traits? There. Thank you for this. Yeah, Defy is kind of like the ability to resist pressure and power through adversity. So yeah, it is kind of like Dex. A Sense is like the ability to read people and situations. Clash is your prowess in combat at distance or up close. So that's basically whenever you're engaging. Talk is your skill with the spoken and written word, and know is your like ingenuity and your cunning.
Okay. Thank you.
And for channelers, your playbook tells you what your channel starts with. I don't think you get to pick that. No, I see. Yeah, two of you putting your highest trait on channel, but no, your playbook tells you what you start with in channel. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you that because there are 5 or 6 channeler stats, and only.
Yeah, but yeah, each channeler playbook has one. For you, the imposter, you start with a +1, and for the witch, it's a +2. Oh my god, the paradigm starts with a +3. Oh, that's ridiculous.
Remind me again what the stats are. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, what they do.
Yeah, so Defy is the ability to resist pressure and kind of power through adversity. And that could be many things like, artillery fire or someone telling you that you suck, that sort of thing. Sense is the ability to read people and situations, your basic, discern reality sort of trait. That's your sensing. Clashing is your prowess in combat, how good you are at fighting, at distance or up close. So that accounts for like melee and range, basically. Talk is your skill with the spoken and written word, how well you talk to people. And know is kind of like your ingenuity and your cunning. Okay. Once you've chosen traits, let me see what's next as character creation. Oh, moves. Those are always fun. So yeah, pick your moves, and then 2 more things, I think. And then we'll introduce these characters, and then actually 1 more thing, and then we'll introduce these characters. And we're gonna leave before we go on the break. We're gonna leave gravity for last, and then I have to explain what gravity is. So yeah, after traits, we'll do moves and then ideals. Then we'll introduce these characters, and then we do gravity.
So in character creation, it says, let me pull this up. Each playbook starts with 3 moves, and each playbook will list which ones you already have, if any, and let you know how many to pick. So the imposter starts with 1 automatically. Do I just choose 2 more?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I start with 2 automatically, so I pick just 1.
Yes.
Okay.
I just remembered. Yeah, your move has a table we have to roll on. You don't even get to pick the boons you get.
Chaos.
Hold on. I'm going to put a link to the roll for party in the character creation tab. Actually, no. No, once we're done with character creation, I'm moving that tab to the very back. So never mind. I'll put it somewhere. Oh yeah, shit, there are factions. Man, this game has a lot. Don't worry, we won't deal with factions today. Or should we? We'll get to that when we get to gravity, I guess. Someday. We will get to gravity. I'm just like throwing random terms. It will be explained. Hmm. Ah. Okay, I just realized like there are some minor differences between some of the moves in the sheets and in this Google Doc. There's an extra sentence in the field scout move in the Google Doc. Let me just add that to the one you picked there, Zach. That's the joys of being in development. You don't. It's hard to keep track which docs are the most up to date or not. So if you're looking at some moves and you're seeing terms like Bane or Ruin, those are kind of like the most important tags for weapons. Because Bane lets you hit things that are above your tier. Because all equipment and weapons come in tiers. And ruin lets you hit tiers. There are 2 tiers above you. So saying that now in case you come across, I don't know, some ridiculous ace evil mech. I don't know. Okay. So there's no step after moves in the character creation, but there's a few more bits in the doc itself. Once you're done in moves, we're gonna move. I advise you move on to ideals. So ideals are kind of like beliefs, I'd say. Each player should write up to 3 beliefs or ideals that are important to their character. They could be principles or ethics they hold dear, views about specific people that heavily shape their interactions, or more general codes of practice. Whatever they are, they should be things that drive and color your character's actions. They're kind of important because they're kind of one of the main ways to get XP. And so make sure like your whatever ideals you come up with for your character, they're actionable. Because if at the end of a sortie in which you put your ideals ahead of the objectives in some way, you mark experience. At the end of a sortie in which you sacrificed or broke one of your ideals for the greater good, you mark 3 experience, and you cross that ideal off forever. But I think that there are like more ways to kind of codify what your character believes in. That is such a metal name for a move. Scour existence. Christ. Okay, so once you're done with ideals, We'll introduce our characters. Then we'll do gravity. Gravity's kind of like relationships. There we go. I'll just say it now. But I just realized that we've been sitting here for like nearly an hour and a half, like halfway through a lot of time. Do you want to take a break so you can have like more time to like think over these ideals, or do you want to do those ideals now?
I'm good right now. I don't need a break as of now.
Okay. So apologies, you are seeing like consequences of me not knowing how to make fucking character keepers. Smaller details there. Oh, I see the problem. Wow. Yeah, we really need to come up with names for the authority and the cause, do we? Oh. So idealistic. Does anyone have names for the authority? I should be thinking of that while you're all working on this. What are words for glass? There we go. The pristine. The pristine something? I don't know. The sublime.
Like maybe it starts with like the order of blah blah blah.
Ooh. The order. The order of.
Or we go obvious with like the principality of blank.
I do like the word principality. There's something terribly intimidating about it. The sublime principality.
Do you know if there's anywhere I can look for examples? I'm having a bit.
Of ideals?
Yeah.
Let me check. Like, if you don't have any, we don't have to fill it out now. Like, we can come up with something else. No, there's not really any examples in
There's. I just looked up ideals D&D, and it gave like sort of a good idea. I'll link to what I'm looking at.
Okay.
Actually, as much as I like the word principality, I just remembered that was the name of the authority from the AP of this game that I watch to prepare for this. So they've already used the word principality.
I mean, that's like the like the principality of Xeon. It's like kind of
Oh
like
yeah, it is. Okay, never mind. I thought they were being smart, but no, they are
That's
just
why I brought it up.
from Gundam. Yeah, it is just okay. Fine, feck it. Yeah, principality. I forgot. Okay, full disclosure, I've watched 3 episodes of Gundam. So I don't know. Of OG Gundam.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever finished the whole season. I've just like seen episodes here and there. So
yeah, I saw as a kid. I saw chunks of G Gundam, which is apparently the worst Gundam, but I liked it as a kid because it was tournament Gundam. And also lots of Gundam Wing. Basically, the Gundams that other Gundam fans don't care for because it's not political and war and whatever. Yeah, we'll stick with the principality. You know, maybe just the principality. There's something like pure and unless there's a really cool adjective you can think of. But for now, we'll say you're fighting against the principality. If you want, Robert, we can come back to the ideals later. So, okay. So actually, what we'll do is before we kind of introduce your characters, let's take a break because we have been here for like half our allotted time. We'll say 10 full minutes. Stretch your legs, use the toilet and whatnot. So we're back here at 45 past the hour. Cool. Yeah, I like Princes of Palladium. Mainly because now we can have like different princes who are yeah, they are the boss fights basically. And if this was like a video game, like a JRPG, like they there's going to be a bit near maybe the end of the prologue where your party or your protagonist struck down, and there's this group of people, their different like armors and clothing. You're like, oh man, they're all gonna be like boss fights in the next 20 to 60 hours. I say video games as if that hasn't been an anime staple for decades. All right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna introduce each of our characters. So talk about kind of their deals, the playbook, kind of like your pitch for them, and then we'll finally do gravity. And if we have time, we'll do a quick sortie just to like see how that works. If we have time, which I'm saying, which we'll see. But yeah, let's kind of introduce our characters for now. Let's go by the order of the character keeper. Let's start with our lone support playbook. Zach, tell us about well, I'll let you pronounce their name, so we know.
All right, so I'm playing a scout support playbook character, and their name is Kanar. So the deal with Kanar is that they're from this nomadic tribe. It's been like, like they live around the area, which maybe we could figure out a name of like a region or a planet. This is what we mentioned. And it's a tribe of like probably like I would say like a couple hundred people. And because they're, like it's their nature of living of like going from one place to another, I think. That's why Kanar is the scout of the team. And so yeah, their luck is it's sharp, and I'd say like they wear this like poncho, and they're like a lot like you would when you see Kanar on screen for the most part is there's going to be a little bit more concealed. So I'm imagining like I don't know, like some sort of like hood, goggles, or something like that. And yeah, I think that's that in terms of the look. Ideals, because they're a support character, their first ideal is teamwork makes the dream work, and that's pretty straightforward. It's all about working in a team. And then the second one is solidarity with the downtrodden, meaning that yeah, they're like super into helping the weakest people that's been victims of the authority. And their third ideal is because I feel like their combat style of this kind of like stealthy guerrilla tactic warfare, they're super into humiliating the authority instead of like fighting the authority in like a confrontational way. So a lot of like underhand tactics, traps, and stuff like that. That's kind of like what I'm picturing how they fight. Yeah, anything else I should highlight about Kanar?
No. I think I got I think we got a good sense of Kanar. Do you say them pronouns? No? Okay. Cool. I'll save my questions for I might have some questions, but I'll save them for later for when we do gravity. Again, we're getting there. Up next, Robert. Tell us about our witch.
So her name is Lyra Harker. She's a former apprentice to mage, who I'll come up with a name for later. who was attacked in a raid by the authority. We're calling them the Princes of Palladium, or is that what we're going for?
Yeah. Let's make a decision. I'm just gonna put my foot down. Yes, they are now the Princes of Palladium, or Palladium. The P of P. Oh wait, we'll stick with Palladium for now.
So yeah, the wizard's lair was attacked by the princes. He entrusted her with a box, that was not to fall into the prince's hands, and she was not to open it under any circumstances. Of course, she's a curious wizard's apprentice, so when she got to a safe distance away from the fighting, she opened it and looked inside, and this sort of corroded gem, sort of, with sort of veins, sort of bloody veins in it, sort of floated out and jammed itself into her chest, because these things happen. And now she has discovered why this gem was so important. It basically holds a fragment of Nyarl, the avatar of chaos. And Nyarl has, yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, Nyarl has, offers her power for this gem, but like no strings attached so far, but so I haven't come up with a look for her because I'm kind of doing this on the fly today. The ideals I came up with are: we should not allow the war to make us as cruel as the princes. I will use this power to protect the innocents of this war. I will not allow Nyarl to corrupt me.
Oh, good luck with that. Ooh, I do have some questions for all of y'all when we get to the end of this, right before Graphy. Before we do that, Lyra Harker is such a witch name. I just want to say that. It sounds like the protagonist of a YA novel who's going to stumble into a haunted house and find some ancient power and some hot boy, because there's always a hot boy. Why is there always a hot boy? Anyway, I've been reading a lot of YA recently. Anyway, Ren, tell us about our imposter.
So my imposter is their name is Cordelia. They use they them pronouns. Years of like experimentation have left her looking sort of emotionless on the outside. But she's sort of got an air of like a casual air about her. So she's really never in her uniform, or they're never in their uniform. Yes, and what is this? It's like is
Their magic is like.
Yeah, their magic is like smoke and industry. So I'm just imagining a lot of steam, smoke, like always shooting out of their mech, or Astir.
They're
Yeah. Yeah, so her like enhancements, her hands are like specifically designed to kind of control the Astir. So they're not human hands, and same with their feet. And for ideals, I have you have to give up part of yourself to truly get what you want. We should never let the authority get away with their lives if we're able to. And we shouldn't blindly follow the cause because they don't have our best interests in mind.
All right. I like the spectrum of optimism and cynicism we have with this group. It's like a sliding scale going from left to right. Like, all right, we got our scout who's like, solidarity with the downtrodden. We'll make this work. We're a team. And then we go to our witch who's like, no, I'll protect the innocents of this war, but I have some bad shit in my head, trying to corrupt me. And then we have this our imposter who's like, no, you got to give yourself up, a part of yourself to get what you want. We don't have to like we don't have to well not believe in the cause, but like we got to look at them and suspicious eyes and suspicious minds. Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, finally, let's get to gravity. Gravity. Let me look that up. So gravity, there's a oh wait there. Those are basically clocks. They represent relationships and attachments you have with people and with groups. They're not measures of how much someone loves or hates you. They're countdowns to when a relationship is challenged, confronted, or addressed. So what this looks like is up to you and whoever you have gravity with. Might be an might be an admission that you want a different kind of relationship or commitment or other things. But when the clock hits 8, it should be significant. Gravity clocks don't have to be positive. They are for star-crossed lovers just as much as fierce rivals meeting on the battlefield time after time. If it seems like the force of the universe are dragging two people together often, well, it might be gravity. So, I'm sorry. Give me a sec. Let me cough my lungs out. Goddamn. Okay. So gravity clocks are 8 segment clocks. They start empty. They're shared either between two players or a player and the director, myself, representing an NPC or a faction/group, and represent a relationship as decided by both parties. You don't need a gravity clock for everyone you meet. You should save them for your characters' relationships you want to focus on and explore and play. For this reason, you can only have 3 at a time, as well as one for your rival should you require one, but there's no rules for making rivals yet, so don't worry about that. Apparently rivals are going to be a thing, but maybe sometime in the future. And also there's a separate gravity clock for your group as a whole with other factions, but don't worry about that. So when you start a new gravity clock, choose a word or short phrase that sums up the relationship and give it a value of +1. That's what the +1 there means. So basically what happens is if you roll a move that's going to affect whoever you have gravity with, you can exchange whatever stat you're meant to roll on with the gravity that you have with that person, which right now is a +1. I think for here, I'm going to start you off that you can have at least 2 gravity clocks. One with another player character and one with an NPC. That's at least the minimum I kind of want. So you want to create an NPC, you can do that. They don't have to be like people you like. You can have like a gravity with a rival or someone who messed up your life or something. I'm not sure for the witch if you should have gravity. I think you have a different relationship with your patron. I don't think you need gravity between them. But like y'all got a sense of like of the other PCs. So who do you want to have gravity with? And bearing this mind that Ren, you're only here for today and for another session. So that's kind of the trickiest part as well. It could even be another faction as well. Actually, all right. I'm gonna put this to you. Do we want to do gravity now, or do you want to save it for our 2 remaining players for next week, and we can just do a sortie now, so we actually get a bit of play, so that Ren can actually get a bit of play. You want to say because gravity is kind of more of a long-term thing? What do you think?
I vote for a sortie. I want to see how it goes. So
Okay, all right. We'll save gravity for later then. But for the 2 of you, for Rob and Zach, for Kanar and Lara, keep those in mind. But okay, so I mean, definitely, yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Ren, Zach, and Robert, Kanar and Lara should have gravity with each other. If we're gonna see them for all of this. But okay, so how a sortie works. I think we're kind of like dispense with like I don't want to have to frame a scene of like y'all getting this jobs. So basically, I'll just give you like their orders right now. So your commanding officer in the cause. Let's see. Let's pull up my names list. Oh dear, I don't have my names list. There we go. Names. Cecilia Lack, that's her name. Lieutenant Cecilia Lack is kind of like your handler. Has kind of called you in for a mission into what was kind of what they thought was like a remote village kind of out in the mountains that has been evacuated because of an incursion into these mountains by the Princes of Palladium. The weird thing is the incursion into this village, and it is occupied right now. You think like it's just a small village that they just pass over it, but it seems that this incursion, at least at this point, has stopped at this village, and the cause, which will give them a name, believe that that there's something being kept there in the village. That's kind of like maybe the princes think like this small backwards out of nowhere village is a good place to hide something. Well, something that they want to keep hidden, something like experimental or something weird. So that's kind of the mission you give. So the mission you're given is to enter the village, whether by force or deception, or probably a combination of both, because of the 3 of your powers, the 3 of your skills, and liberate whatever experimental, whatever stuff that the Princess Palladium are keeping in the village. And before we do the roll for how the sortie works, I do believe the witch has to roll something first. Because the witch has boons. And you're going to receive boons for your patron. Let me put the roll for party link here. Okay, so for you, Lara, at each dawn you receive boons from your patron. So you're going to roll on the table, which it's in the, well, I guess in the playbook doc. You're going to roll a d6 twice. Just roll 2d6, and you will get 2 boons. And they will last at least for the duration of this mission until the next dawn. So would you kindly roll me a 2d6 in our likely workable sloth? Okay, so you got a 3 and a 6. So your 2 boons are masking boon. You can mask yourself or an Astir you're attuned to against detection. Oh, that's interesting. So when you do so, roll plus channel. Blah, blah, blah. We'll get to that. And the other 6 is a trickster's boon. When you use the subsystem move to alter the result of roll, you may change both d6s to the chosen trait rather than the one you wish. We'll get to subsystems when we get to there. Okay, so those are your 2 boons, and you can use them in this mission. Okay, so before we get to the launching, there is a move. If you go to downtime/special moves, there's a move called Lead a Sortie. So when you lead the group into a sortie, decide who planned the mission and roll. So who do you think between the 3 of you, once you're given this mission, who do you think was the one who planned this excursion? This is basically this version of an entanglement roll, like in Blades or Forge in the Dark. So this kind of like shows you that we don't need to plan out exactly how you're going to do it, but I do need to know who kind of planned this. So who wants to step up? Don't make me pick a volunteer.
I can step up.
Okay, so you're gonna roll. Let's see. There are 4 traits you can roll on. You can roll on gravity if a faction is helping you out. Since we skip gravity, that's we're not gonna do that. No, if you made the plan. Crew if it was someone else aboard who made the plan, or defy if you're heading into danger blind. Crew is a stat from your carrier. Your carrier's name is the Twilight Joy. That's where you live, and we should have assigned stats to that. But so basically, you can roll no if you made the plan, crew if it was someone else on board the carrier who made the plan, or defy if you're heading to danger blind. What do you think, Cordelia?
I think we're heading in blind.
Yeah, you got them fairly vague stuff.
Yeah.
So roll plus defy. Wow, I see your defy is pretty good as well, huh? Fancy that.
So I got a 7. 5 plus 2.
All right. So on a 7 to 9, the crew stumbles, misses something important, or is unprepared for what they meet. Okay. So I'm gonna guess that because you're the scout, Kanara, Kanar. I didn't say Kanara. Kanar, you would probably try to. Do you think you scout the village first before they kind of launch their Astirs to get in? Yeah, of course. That's just it. Okay, so when I say like this village is like a mountain, it's on the mountains. It is kind of like just on the edge of this mountain because kind of jutting out. It's like as a touchstone, kind of like that village at the start of Batman Begins. It's just off, kind of like near cliff edges, and you can kind of see even from a distance, Kanar, that there's at least 2 Palladium Astirs, 1 on each end of the village. But it looks, it looks like it's just those 2. But you can see kind of in the village. So what I'm thinking is kind of like it kind of goes up in an incline on kind of like this cliff face with all these like huts and shacks. But you can see probably actually. So that's in your peripheral vision anyway. If you're looking from afar, the village and 2 of the Palladium Astirs. And the thing with Palladium Astirs is that they look so nice. They have like nice. Actually, no. You tell me, what do the Palladium Astirs look like? These are, and you can tell they are Mark II, like Astirs. So they're kind of like only a tier below your friends' Astirs. But what do these look like?
So I'm imagining they're kind of like the grunt Mecha Astir. And so I think they have a more kind of like lower center of gravity, so kind of shorter. Maybe they're 3-legged. And so they have like good mobility, but in terms of like combat, I think they have like, I don't know, they carry some sort of like like an axe or something, or a mace instead of, you know, swords or like broadswords or like that. And they do look nice. So yeah, it's like what, like platinum plated. Um, yeah. Um, there's like they're mono eyed, so it's like a single eye, kind of like the Zaku's. Um, and that's what they look like.
Okay, so that's kind of like what you see. Do you think it's time to call in your two, or do you want to like find out more while you're there?
Yeah, I think I want to find out more. Maybe I wonder what the where the main entrance is to the village. And if there's any some sort of like other ways of entry beside going in from, like, you know, the obvious routes into the village.
Okay, so it sounds like you're kind of trying to read the room, which is this game's kind of version of like, discern realities or whatnot. Does that sound right? Okay, cool. So on our basic moves tab, when you read the room to get inside your situation, you roll plus sense. And who knew our scout has very good sense. Now, don't worry about that 79 on the engagement roll. I'm saving that for later. What'd you get?
So I rolled a 7 plus 2 is 9.
9. All right. So on a 7 to 9, wrong tab. All right. So you hold one and you spend it one for one to ask the following questions. So if you look at the basic moves tab there, those are your questions.
Okay. I think I'll ask what is being overlooked here? So anything that's hidden or
Okay. So you can kind of tell that those two mechs are kind of parked on the entrance and the exit out of the village. But you notice, Kanar, that for as much as those two mechs are very obvious, but you notice the huts, you can see that they've all been kind of clustered around the center of the village, as if they're kind of been moved in a way. And you can see the groove marks where the houses themselves were kind of moved. And you can see why they're moved, because they're being clustered around a cave entrance in deeper into the mountains. And you also notice something else. It's kind of overlooked, is that, well, there's no villagers left, or there's no people at all. Like, not even like other Palladium soldiers. And all there is just the two Palladium mechs. Meanwhile, up in the Twilight Joy, your carrier, the two of you are preparing to launch. Cordelia and Lara. There's a bit in the character sheet where it says, what do you say when you launch your Astir? Do you have anything, or should we save that for? No, that's fine. You don't have to come up
I
with
don't have
anything.
anything.
That's fine. Okay, so I'm assuming Kanar is feeding you this information, kind of like, okay, two mechs, cave entrance, should be fairly easy. So what's kind of your plan? You're just gonna launch in and just so like when Kanar communicates this, what do you like communicate back to them, like on what you're planning to do?
So I think Kanar said exactly what has been discovered. Is like so we have two entries. The Astirs over there, and we should be able to enter without resistance because there's doesn't seem to be any a presence of life, or maybe that's something we should be aware of is how suspicious it is that the village is really quiet. But do mind that there's an entrance, there's a cave entrance in the middle of the town, and maybe that we should be focusing on what is happening in there.
Okay, so what are the plans for 2 Astir pilots? Cordelia, what are you planning? You're about to be launched in towards the village.
So maybe we could do like not an ambush, but like sort of like actually an ambush, I guess. Try to lead them away from the cave. And then
one of you can get in.
I don't know. Robert, what are you thinking?
Yeah, we could distract them, and then then Kanar could maybe go in and check out the cave.
Sounds good to me.
All right, so the 2 of you are launching out to your out of your mechs. Did you give your names to your mechs? No, if not, that's fine. You don't have it right now. I'm just like, that's just another, because the thing is, you pick the types of mechs you have, and you can give them names. But yeah, so let's not get too distracted. So I'm assuming then the 2 of you are launching at 1 each on the 2 other the Palladium Astirs. And okay, so this is where the roll comes in. So I guess the 2 of you launch from the Twilight Joy out from the sky, just kind of like falling kind of like directly towards the 2 Astir mechs, the 2 Palladium mechs. And the thing is, you kind of caught them unawares, I guess. But here's the thing you overlooked: as soon as the 2 of you kind of launch and kind of like land, or I guess I'll ask y'all later what you're planning as you land. I think you notice this as well, Kanar. You notice that like the Twilight Joy is hidden in the clouds, but breaking away from the clouds in the distance is a Palladium carrier of its own, and this one is fairly familiar. You notice because you notice that this is the carrier of a specific prince. This I think, yeah, this green silk, kind of like almost silky looking carrier is the personal flagship of the Prince of Joy. That's kind of like his epithet in battle. So the personal flagship of a Prince of Palladium is coming over just as their 2 mates. Okay, I'll ask each of you: are you all planning to attack the mechs as you kind of fall, or you're just gonna land in front of them and, I don't know, challenge them to a duel? Or I'll start with you, Cordelia. What's your plan as you're kind of aiming towards this mech?
Yeah, I guess as we're coming down, I'm just like taking shots at it, at the 2 in front of the cave, or 3.
2. Well, they're not in front of the cave. What positioning is, there's a mech here, the village, and a cave were in the middle. So you're kind of on opposite ends. So if you're firing on this mech who kind of like swivels on its torso up towards you, and sees you're coming in, your omen. Okay, so let me see. The basic move here is, it sounds like you are exchanging blows. So when you exchange blows with foes capable of defending themselves, you either roll plus clash or plus talk, whichever is more appropriate. Obviously, you're not here to talk to. Well, you do have that move, but I don't know if you're here to talk to a grunt. So yeah, roll plus clash, and you're using obviously your ray rifle, which has magic, and I need to look up someone stabs me. But yeah, roll plus clash.
So that is a 9.
9. All right. So on a sorry, I'm just looking at what tab means. On a 7 to 9, both you and the target are forced to take a risk. So risk is basically kind of like conditions that you take on to battle, and those are kind of like those are kind of like XP. It's like masks basically, and so when you take on a risk, basically it's like a tag. So what I imagine happening is you've got this person, you've got this mech pinned down, and I think that's the what you call it, the risk I'm giving to him, is that he's pinned down by your fire. But I think what you get, the risk that you're gonna get is that when it kind of swivels, you think it looks like it has like an ordinary ray pistol on its hand, but you kind of see it's this more boxy sort of like it doesn't look like like any Palladium weapon you're used to. So it fires off this like penetrating shot, and I think it kind of when it kind of like smacks into your mech, you suddenly feel that your armor is kind of like, you kind of feel like your armor is loosening up. It's almost like you got hit by some sort of weird EMP blast. So I'm gonna give you the risk, I guess loosened or something like that. So write that down and bold risk next to it. In the meantime, while all these shots are being fired, the mech that you're aiming at, Lyra, has kind of turned his attention to Cordelia, to the Omen. What do you do?
So I'm gonna blast it with this. What is it? I've got
Burst caster.
burst caster.
All right. So yeah, that sounds like you're exchanging blows as well. The person is not the mech you have there is not yet defenseless. So yeah, roll plus clash. I doubt you're here to talk to him.
So I took clash 0, I think. So that's a 9.
Okay. All right. Let me introduce another move you can do. So you're in a mech. You notice you have those three stats there. You can spend mana to use the subsystems move, which can let you do 3 things, depending on what you spend it on. So you can power up your main systems and replace a D6 result with one of your Astir stats. You can divine your situation, ask one question from the read the room list, or you can untick overheating, which you don't have to do it now because you're not overheated. So your Astir stats are like 4, 4, 4, the ones in the brackets there. So basically, you can spend a mana to replace that 3 with a 4, so you can get to 10. You have 2 mana at the moment.
I'll save the mana for now.
Okay, cool. So on a 7 to 9, both you and your target are forced to take a risk. So I think as you're shooting him down, their back is kind of turned to you, because they're focusing on Cordelia. So your shots, they hit. They're getting there, but so I'm gonna give them a risk anyway. I don't have to name it. I just know that they're now kind of like hot unawares is them. But for you, what happens to you is that as while you kind of have your mech hot unawares, suddenly you hear this like piercing blast coming from the sky, and you see that the Prince of Joy's ship has sighted you, and it doesn't hit you. It kind of hits the wall next to you, but you're gonna take the risk. Got their attention. So Kanar, you're seeing this melee happen. The 2 mechs and the Prince of Joy's ship. Their attention's fairly taken up. So what do you do?
I think with the chaos that's happening right now, Kanar, they're going to slink into the cave and see what's in there.
All right. Sounds like you're going guerrilla. Attempt to evade detection or sneak past others. You're going to take a +1 to this because you're acting on a read the room answer. So, when you attempt to evade your detection or sneak past others, roll plus no.
So my no is +1. I rolled a 7, +1 is an 8.
Well, I guess it doesn't matter because you got an extra +1 for that read the room.
So 9, yeah, okay.
But still at 9. Okay, so on 7 to 9, you can choose 1 or choose 2 and take a risk.
Okay.
So you avoid detection, you find something hidden or forgotten, you find a good vantage point to strike a foe from, or you find a way to allow others to follow without being detected. So you can choose 1, or you can choose 2 and take a risk.
I think I'm going to take a risk, and I'll choose avoid detection and find something hidden or forgotten.
Okay, so as you kind of slink through the cave, pass through, these raging war machines, exchanging fire. When you kind of get to the entrance of the cave, immediately, like, that you see lights coming from like inside, and you can kind of hear panic inside, saying, we've been found out by the insert name of the cause here. We need to come up with a name for the cause. You can kind of hear like the people coming in, but because they're so caught up that like they don't notice you kind of slinking into the cave, and you see kind of like it's not a big cave. You kind of just go in and you see standing in the middle, you see kind of like this pristine, beautiful clockwork glass mech. This like just beautiful, like, and it looks like it's like made out of spikes and filigree carving in glass, and you kind of see all the scientists, and you hear words kind of like, we have to protect the prototype, we have to get out here, but we don't have a channeler. Don't worry, the Prince of Joy is coming. He's coming to save us. He's come for his personal mech, and that's kind of the useful thing you found there. The hidden thing you found is this is the personal mech of the Prince of Joy. This is the I'll give a name for it later. I nearly gave it a name, and I just used in a masked game that Robert was in. So that's what you found, and you avoid detection for now. But when you kind of get near the mech, Kanar, you suddenly feel woozy. You kind of feel. I'll give you the risk lethargic because you feel the overwhelming atmosphere of magic kind of in the air, almost like they're pumping it in the air around this mech. So yeah, take the risk, lethargy. Meanwhile, we go back to Cordelia. So you've been hit by this EMP blast, but no, you've only got the attention of this one mech, Cordelia. While the risk for Lyra is she's got the attention of the Prince of Joy. So she'll have fun with that. But for you, you've only had this mech so far, and you probably noticed, or maybe Kanar say that that they've slipped in, job done. But this like three-legged mech with kind of like the head there. They shot you with a pistol. You're fine for now, but then you see like they kind of like clench on the pistol, and suddenly the pistol kind of folds in and suddenly starts folding out into a melee weapon, into a what's a good melee weapon? Yeah, into just a big metallic glass mace, and they kind of like swing it in the air and look at you, and it's like you're too late. You're too late, rebel warrior. The Prince of Joy is here. And you can hear it being piped into. No, it's out in the open speaker, and they're like, "Surrender now, and you might get their full mercy." What do, Cordelia?
I want to scour existence. So as he's, I guess I'm like running towards him, and I'm just trying to like figure out like a weak point on his mech, or his mech. So that
All right. So exchange blows with plus channel.
mhm.
So roll +1.
And so I actually, because I'm an imposter, every time I get a danger, my channel goes up.
Oh,
So,
and when you roll with channel and succeed, you mark experience. Jesus.
yeah. So
Cool. So roll. So yeah.
Here we go.
Roll +2.
7, 9. So
Ooh, 9. All right. So what does this look like when you scour existence?
I think we like cut into like the cockpit, and Cordelia's eyes are just kind of like glowing white, like they're not real eyes, and it's I'm I'm like feeling very futuristic in like how I'm trying to explain things, but it's like a fantasy setting. So I guess I can like see weak points on their mech, because of that. So it's sort of like a X-ray vision. So I'm just kind of focused on their weakness.
All right. Well, let's see. Let me look at the basic move. Well, Well, your shots ring through anyway. First of all, mark experience because you succeeded on the channel roll. And you see the weak points, and you can see, like, despite the fact that they have this experimental tech that's kind of loosened up your mech, this is still a grunt. This is a grunt Astir. This is a grunt Palladium Astir, and you know exactly where to shoot. So as you kind of like your eyes glow and your shots fire off, they just perforate this poor asshole who's kind of like, I've come to fight, and I changed it to a mace. Why did I do that? And kind of like, yeah, your shot slice through the mech and you've kind of destroyed it. But and you've destroyed it, and you've killed this guy. You've blown it up, but because you rolled 79, that power comes kind of like, as you channeled all this power through the Astir. You're gonna have to you mark a risk and bold the word overheat. See the word overheating there on the Astir? Yeah, bold that and also mark that as a new risk. That you're now over, your Astir is now overheated. So yeah, that's that's your new risk. We'll jump to you, Lyra. So you've got this other mech pinned down, but the Prince of Joy's ship is firing on you with like these thunderbolt blasts coming from its artillery cannon. What do you do?
Well, as long as they're concentrating on me, that gives Cordelia a chance to do something on their end. So I'm gonna just sort of try and dodge the bolts and basically draw their fire.
All right, sounds like you're trying to weather the storm. When you weather the storm to do something safely under pressure, you are going to roll plus defy to dodge, tough it out, or strong arm with you. That sounds like, yeah, you're trying to dodge.
It's 8.
8. So on 7 to 9, you succeed, but at some cost. So I'm gonna ask you either to settle for less, take a risk, or make a difficult choice. So I think, because it's still at the start, I'm just gonna make you take a risk. You are going to actually, you know what? I'm going to escalate that risk into a peril. So the difference between risks and perils is that risks go away after a sortie. They're just happening in a sortie. Perils, you're going to have to work on that. And the peril is you get a communique from the Prince of Joy's ship. And you kind of hear this distorted voice saying, "Oh, so you're Kangren's survivor, aren't you?"
Got nothing to say to you.
Well, I have lots of things to say to Kangren's survivor, aka the possessor of Gnarl. Yeah, they're still firing on you. That's this distorted voice. So that got your attention is now a peril. So on bold risk can say peril. And like I said, peril, you're gonna have to work on that in downtime to try and get that. Now the Prince of Joy is just on you. But you dodge it. Your attention is away Cordelia and still on you. Meanwhile, Kanar, you're still kind of undetected. You see like this glass mech with kind of like wires coming out of it as the scientists are kind of packing supplies and whatnot. You can hear them, you can hear like in the hubbub going like, "We don't have a channeler. We can't get the Prince of Joy's mech out of here." What do you do, Kanar?
I think right now Kanar's plan is to get out of the cave and block the entrance to the cave with some sort of like rubble or something, and there's a couple of ways that I think they're trying to do. I have a question. Do you know, is there a way that all three of us could communicate? Is there some sort of like I don't know, device or?
Yeah, we could say you all have communicators. We can just say that.
Okay. All right. Okay. I think what Kanar's doing is they're gonna find some sort of like ledge above the cave entrance and see if any, like, try to communicate to one of the Astirs to shoot the like rocks above the cave entrance, so it'll collapse and block the entrance to the cave. So yeah, so you see Kanar coming out of the cave and communicate to one of the or like both of the mechs and be like, and they say they have a prototype of Prince Joy's new Astir. It's in our best interest to block the cave entrance so they don't have access to it. And we also have scientists there, so we should really block the entrance. And oh, you know what? I say to Lyra, I was like, Lyra, if you could direct Princess Joy's ship's blast above the cave entrance, I think that would be enough to create rubbles and block the entrances to the cave.
Okay, I'll try.
Oh, poor Lyra having to multitask. Yeah, and I guess Cordelia's probably fine for now. Let's see. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think. So you're on this ledge, Kanar, as you're saying this, right? And let's coordinate this. So you're on this ledge, Kanar. You want to direct Lyra to direct the Prince of Joy's blast to cause a cave in. Cordelia, you'll notice as you're kind of like overheated. You've destroyed the mech, but their experimental tech is still there, so you can grab that for the cause, maybe. Because I think we're getting close to time, I do want to let Zach go so they can go just right before 2 p.m. So we're getting close. So I think this is gonna come down. The role. There's gonna be no role for you, Lara. The role is not gonna be like if you do it or not, just how well you do it. So I think you're being tracked. This is gonna be another weather the storm. Good luck with that.
It's an 8.
That's an 8. Okay, so on 7 to 9 you succeed, but at some cost, your director will ask you to settle for less, take a risk, or make a difficult choice. Make a difficult choice. I think I'll just give you a risk because, like I said, we need to wrap up soon. I don't plan to elongate this for as much as I can. But do you have an idea for a difficult? No, don't do that to yourself. So I think when you get near the cave, and I assume like Kanar, you're getting out of there just as you're not gonna get plummeted in. Like maybe you're even out and you're kind of hitching a ride on Cordelia's mech as Lyra kind of dances around. And Lyra, when you kind of pass the cave, the extra risk I'm kind of gonna give you is like, you get a whiff of magic from all that was being pumped in, and it's like yeah, I think it's enough to kind of like give you a bit of a shock, and suddenly you feel this clammy feeling kind of like roll over your soul almost, um as this like almost nauseating, almost poisonous like magic kind of like rolls over you. So just take the risk, nauseated. But you do it. So the Prince of Joy's ships kind of, as they kind of sight you, in that Darth Vader-esque "I have you now" sort of way. The shot rings through. You just manage to dodge it. Maybe, I don't know, you use your boon to mask yourself or something, and the shot, yeah, smashes through the cave. Actually, no, even better. It goes into the cave, and I think the three of you will just be clear, just as this almighty gout of fire and steel and glass kind of like erupts from the cave, destroying the village. Oops. And and just, but yeah, destroying like whatever was inside, and just, just enough, creating enough explosion and fire and smoke to kind of like mask the ship, as the Twilight Joy kind of contacts you, and it's like ready for extraction, and the Joy kind of comes near, and the three of you can manage to get in, safe and sound. So that went well. um our little sortie. Sorry about that. I'm coughing a lot. So we'll deal with the consequences of what happened in that mission later. We'll say, figure out a reason for why Cordelia's not around. We don't have to. It's a big war. You could be anywhere. Oh dear, my internet seems to have frozen. What? Oh, but there it is. Okay. So, and then we'll deal with downtime and, the consequences of your mission next week. But for now, yeah. So that was our first look at Armour Astir. I hope players here enjoyed themselves. I'll just wrap up this broadcast now. If you want to check out Armour Astir, links down below. I'll stop this broadcast so we can do a quick stars and wishes and let Zach go. Yeah, I'll stop this here. Goodbye, YouTube. Bye.